mentioned something about the helicopters and helping with the helicopter. I don't need any help with the helicopter. I'm hoping that you guys are going to actually save me some money on this. The only way you can get up close is by helicopter, so you fly over Palm Jumeirah towards Palm Jebel Ali and you see this. Got a few meetings today. First meeting is a potential new client. Been living in Dubai with his family for a while, moving to Abu Dhabi, wants some advice, and I'm going to go meet him to find out more about exactly how I can help them. 10 days ago we transferred an off-plan villa on Palm Jebel Ali. It was not from the developer. We bought it off a private investor, British family office actually. My buyer wanted to see what he bought, but you can't get onto Palm Jebel Ali because of the construction. The only way you can get up close is by helicopter. So we booked the helicopter, got clearance to fly over Palm Jebel Ali, which is controlled airspace. Actually managed to put in a few passes over the top of Palm Jebel Ali. Took some great footage just on my phone, posted it up on my socials, and it went kind of viral. Love in Dubai accidentally on purpose repackaged it and accidentally didn't credit me. But then they did, they corrected it. I think Love in Dubai probably helped me in a, that's funny how these things turn out. And then actually quite a few people helped themselves to that video, but they all ended up crediting me. We've got some really good footage of the construction. You can see one of the fronds is still being built. They're reclaiming and dredging to build the final frond, the end of the top frond. But the epiphany for me was when you fly over Palm Jumeirah towards Palm Jebel Ali and you see the scale of Palm Jebel Ali and the improvements that they've made on the design of Palm Jumeirah. What you realize is the future looks like this. At some stage, prices on Palm Jebel Ali will reach, match and pass Palm Jumeirah, and everybody will fly into DWC, which will be the world's largest airport, 250 million passengers a year, and they will look out their window and they will look at Palm Jebel Ali and they'll say, there it is, the truly iconic Palm Jebel Ali. And look, there's that cute palm that they did before, Palm Jumeirah, the original palm. You can see both palms. But Palm Jebel Ali is going to be the daddy. There's no doubt about that. So the progress on Palm Jebel Ali right now is at the fastest possible pace. The helicopter pilot was describing to me how it's just popping up out of the sea. They've really mastered reclaiming the land and building these islands. I still don't know how they make it so accurately. It must be a lot of surveyors and civil engineering and some super technical stuff, which I know nothing about. The bit about Palm Jebel Ali that really brings it home to me is the size of it. The clear water, you can see that there's sea life in the water. The distance between the fronds, and that gap just gets bigger the higher up the numbers you go, which is why the higher numbers are more expensive. They also come with larger plots. But the size of it is just going to give it a totally different vibe to Palm Jumeirah. The water will be clearer. The traffic will be better because each crescent has its own entrance and exit points, as does the trunk. And on the trunk, the residents also have their own lanes. So if you're living on a frond, you should be able to get in and out much faster. And if you need to get to the tip of a crescent, you don't have to go all the way around. So for the type of villa my investor bought, if he'd bought on Palm Jumeirah today, a 6-bed or a 7,500 square foot villa would have cost him about 9,000 dirhams a foot. And he was buying in at much like 3,000 dirhams a foot. So it's a third of the price on Palm Jumeirah. Admittedly, Palm Jebel Ali isn't built yet, but prices on Palm Jebel Ali, and I'm saying this hand on heart, I confidently believe this, prices on Palm Jebel Ali will reach, match and pass Palm Jumeirah. It's just a question of how long that takes. But this particular investor is in it for the long haul. He's investing in other real estate, and the other owners and the other investors that I know have a plot or multiple plots on Palm Jebel Ali. They're in it for the long haul. The capital appreciation curve is potentially reaching one of its steepest points right now, and it's a great time to be holding land on Palm Jebel Ali. Hey buddy, so Saturday and Sunday I managed to gather quite a few opportunities. Hotels, healthcare, schools, plots, double plots, twin plots, multiple plots. Anyway, I've put it all into a spreadsheet, filtered out all the stuff that isn't suitable, exported it into a PDF for him, one deal per page, and it's been passed to the investor's CEO of real estate, and I think it'd be enough to pique their interest. I would describe them as active but not motivated, and I will be following up, but not daily. These people don't need more pushy people in their lives. That is not the vibe, but I'll keep you posted, and your name is definitely against those hotels, and I'll do my best to get a good result. So with a lot of the stuff that I have, it's off market and it's direct from the family or the investor or the owner. But also quite a lot of stuff that I have is from other agents that I collaborate with. I definitely can't collaborate with everybody. There's 30,000 brokers in this city, but I like to collaborate with people that I get along with, who I trust. Trust is enormous. But when you're looking for trophy assets, when you're looking for towers, buildings, hotels, schools, healthcare opportunities, offices, some of that stuff, you've got to go a little bit deeper if you want to find the good opportunities for the very large investors. So this is interesting. Today I've got 4 meetings, and one is with an agent that I'm collaborating with, so let's park that. Leaves me with 3 other meetings. They are all referrals, and a lot of people on my social media will recommend me to people who then follow me on social media, and that's often how you get to the active investors. So I don't want to say too much, because most of my investors they value discretion, but these are people looking to invest maybe 10, 20, 30 million pounds in the UAE. That could be a single asset. Some of them are looking to do multiple deals, each deal above that level, and it's either through lawyers that I know, or people who specialize in immigration, or a lot of real estate people, because in the UK I was quite well known in the real estate community, and when people are moving to Dubai they say, oh, you should drop Matt a line, he's the guy. But referrals are really valuable. I'm happy to receive them, I'm happy to pay for them, and if you think you've got a potential investor, I would love to speak to them, and I would always prefer to just disclose that this person brought me this potentially really valuable piece of business. I'm going to get a good fee, you're going to get a great investment, and I'm going to look after them. The referrals business in Dubai is big business. People are recommending each other for large FX transactions, supercars, real estate, all this flashy, expensive stuff. But ultimately, the thing that I like to distinguish between the way that's typically done and the way I do it is I would much rather always disclose and declare where I'm potentially conflicted. Like, yes, I have a partnership with these people and they pay me 20% of their profits, but I've selected them because I know they're good, I know their fees are fair and reasonable, because I also wanted to do that business, but now I don't need to, because I send them multiple leads every month. But yesterday I recommended my friend's showroom for one of my investors is potentially buying a Ferrari, quite a rare Ferrari. I'm not getting anything for that. I want to make my investor happy, but if I tell him that I have no arrangement with the showroom, I want him to know that that's true. But if I send him to a friend of mine who's going to incorporate his company for him and do all his visas, and I explain, yes, I have an arrangement with these people because they're the best, and because everybody I send to them works with them, and because it means I don't have to set up that business myself now, because I'm in partnership with them, then at least he knows where he stands, and at least he knows he's getting the truth. This is a real estate broker in Monaco. He's also investing in Dubai himself, but he's got large investors and family offices that want to buy real estate in Dubai, and he needs to collaborate with someone. So I'm out and about all day today, but before I left I produced a PDF for him to give him a taste of what I've got access to, so he can see the sort of deals we might be able to do together. Because my access to opportunities is definitely going to exceed his. We need to partner up. This is going to blow his socks off. Not literally, it's an English saying, blow your socks off. I don't know where it came from. This inquiry is a real estate investor. He's based in Europe and he's been investing in Dubai. quite an unusual real estate investor because he actually has a real estate business in Monaco, and he doesn't fully understand the Dubai market to the extent that someone like I would, and he wants access to really good opportunities and really good deals. So I just sent him some suggestions, and some of these opportunities are truly noteworthy. Like, there's a penthouse on the coast, it's about 500 million dirhams. This one, the ruler of one of the Emirates has taken the end of this island. It's a health resort, a health retreat run by some of the best people in that business. They have a retreat in Mexico and Spain. If you know that space, you'll know who I'm talking about. This one is a spa and retreat on Palm Jumeirah. It's been designed by Zaha Hadid architects, very well known. He's an excellent super prime developer. Here's some plots on Palm Jebel Ali. Here's some plots on Palm Jumeirah. Here's 2 plots on Palm Jebel Ali side by side. Here's a plot on the end of a frond on Palm Jebel Ali. You know, this stuff is rare, and this is the stuff that the real money, the serious money, is chasing. At the highest level, you can't build a property portfolio if you're living in all your property and all your equities tied up in your home. So if you're looking to have real estate investments outside of your home, then you've got to get used to the idea of not putting all your equity into your own home. The difference that you've got is that, unlike the investors in England, there's no capital gains tax and transaction costs are low, and people around here people who know what they're doing, don't have this mentality that you never sell a property, you buy it and you never sell it. You own stuff for 3 years and hit the capital appreciation curve and ride it. So that client that I just met with has a particular decision to make. His wife is quite keen to buy the villa with the swimming pool and in the process tie up a load of their equity, and what he would like to do is invest prudently and sensibly so that the 10-year plan turns out to be a better 10-year plan after the 10 years is up. So we're having an interesting conversation about how his goals can be met and whether or not we do accommodate the wife's goals. Ultimately, it comes down to the whole rich dad, poor dad theory. He's got a choice of investing in Abu Dhabi, where he's going to be based from August, or investing in Dubai, which is a strong market. But Abu Dhabi makes a lot of sense because instead of tying up all the money in the family home, you might decide that you're going to be prudent and rent for a few years and invest in 1 or 2 projects in Abu Dhabi. If you wanted to, you could resell those contracts having only paid down 20%, whereas in Dubai you have to typically pay down 40%. So that gives a bit of liquidity. Obviously Abu Dhabi is like a rocket ship at the moment. Population is growing faster than Dubai. The supply is seriously constrained. They're building like a 5th or a 6th of the number of new homes. If you look at the map of Abu Dhabi, it's a collection of islands. You're either going to be on one or you're not. All in all, there's just so much in the pipeline for Abu Dhabi, it makes a lot of sense. And this family's going to be living in Abu Dhabi. I'd like to be a fly on the wall during that conversation, because typically as human beings, we always want to have our cake and eat it. When it comes to real estate investing, you can't always do that. So the way I explained it was, when you're 50 or 55 years old, you want to be driving past the neighbours and you're on your way to the golf course and they're on their way to the office. And you don't get there by having the biggest mortgage and all your equity tied up in your principal residence. You get there by investing where your money's working hardest and having some boundaries. So finished meeting number 1, got a half-hour window to have a quick bite before meeting number 2, and after that we're jumping in the helicopter. Today I need to check that we've got a venue lined up for the event and a landing page and a plan. Let's discuss the phone, way some more details, side source, best price. No, I don't want them to do that. That's not what I asked. They're going to take commissions on everything, and I don't need them to take commissions on anything. I don't want too many people involved in everything. Like, if I can book it directly, why do I want 2 middlemen in the middle? Because it's not going to help me get the best price. I'm like, get out of the way, please. Let me do it. Booking the venue. Not just the venue, the helicopters. Like, I know the helicopter people. I don't need help with the helicopters. Everybody wants to help with the helicopters. Oh. This guy was at Julius Bar, Julius, I can never say it probably, Julius Bar. Jeez, he must have worked there more than 40 years. Gave me my first internship in 1995. And we're still in touch. This is a guy that looks after some proper investors. 40 years in private banking, Merrill Lynch, and then Julius Bar. Not only is he a good contact, he's also a very good bloke. The reason I'm doing the event is because when I flew over Palm Jebel Ali and I saw the size of it, I suddenly understood how this will be, beyond doubt in my mind, one of the best places to own real estate in the UAE. It's going to be highly desired. Everybody's going to want a piece of it. There's scarcity because you can't keep building fronds. Like, you're either on one of the fronds with your own beach or you're not. As more and more people have that epiphany and they realize how fantastic it's going to be with the cleaner water, the bigger palm with the bigger spaces between the villas and front to front, the bigger plots, just everything's bigger and better. And it's going to be really peaceful as well. It's going to be like a haven. And if you get a great villa with a sunset view and you're on the rooftop enjoying a drink as the sun goes down, it's going to be pretty special. But the reason for the event is when I flew over and when I saw it, I suddenly realized I need to be helping people buy on Palm Jebel Ali. I had a really good time working with that particular investor. It was a journey. We were together from the beginning all the way through to the end. There were some missiles launched at us, which we dodged. It was exciting. The whole position was whether we buy from this particular private investor or we take our chances in the launch, and a lot of people went for the launch and didn't get anything. A lot of people got a design they might not have been their first choice, or the orientation that wouldn't have been their first choice because they'd love to see the sunset. My investor got the design he wanted. He got the west-facing garden that he wanted. He got him the unbelievable price for that many beds or that many square foot. Probably saved him about £800,000, 4 million dirhams on the asking price. It was good. I probably did myself out of $200,000 worth of fees because my fee would have been bigger, direct from the developer. But my responsibility is to the investor's capital and getting them invested into something really, really strong and giving them maximum protection. And you can only do that if you're together with your client. Every time you see a risk, you flag it, you raise it. If you can't mitigate it, you abort on that deal and you go after the next one. And that's the difference between an advisor and a sales guy. I'm a lousy sales guy, but I like to think I'm quite a good advisor. So the event that we're putting on is for serious investors who want to know more about how real estate in Dubai and the UAE works. It's important to get everybody in a room so that we can talk more openly. A lot of the deals that I've got are off market. Some of them are distressed and the situation is difficult. Some of them are just distressed and the situation isn't difficult and you can just get a very good deal. There's quite a lot to investing. It's just easier to share it in a roundtable format. It's not going to be a sales fest. There's going to be some great networking opportunities because the people attending this event are going to be serious. These are people investing 10 million dirhams plus, which is 2 million pounds. About $2.4 million. It's not for apartment investors. This is for people investing in prime villas, the upper end of the market, the better end of the market, and probably not just 10 million dirhams, right the way up to 25, 30, 40, 50 million dirhams. It's going to be very candid. Going to be lots to learn. And for those that do want to get in a helicopter and fly over the top of Palm Jebel Ali, they can do that if they want to. And for those that don't, they can just meet us in the boardroom. Hey Asad, how you doing? Good, thanks. How can I help? Oh right, okay. Yeah, I just want to know how she's getting on with the options for the event. Okay, that sounds good. She mentioned something about the helicopters and helping with the helicopter. I don't need any help with the helicopters. I know the people and I know the prices. And I'm hoping that you guys are going to actually save me some money on this, as well as obviously get paid for doing the work. Okay, but don't worry about the helicopters. I can sort those out. I know them. All right, thank you, buddy. Speak tomorrow. Cheers, buddy. Bye. I remember my first public speaking. Actually, the first time I spoke in public was terrible. It was in 2012. I cringe when I think about it. But the first time I spoke at an event, when I was hosting it, was in Knightsbridge in London. I was awful. I basically stood with my back to the crowd. I read from the screen. I sweated profusely. I was tense, nervous. I was awful, but I learned quite quickly and I got quite good. I did one event a month for 3 years, and then I did more like 4 events a month for 7 years. I had some really good keynote speakers. I had Mike Ingle, developer of the decade. I had Nick Candy on a podcast. I had Simon Woodruff, who was Yo Sushi. I had some really good people. I never paid anybody to speak. They all did it off a personal invitation from me. I always pushed them to share their secrets. I kind of would set them up. I'd say, what's your best deal ever? And sometimes they wouldn't want to say it because they're quite discreet. But they'd normally give a case study. And then I'd immediately hit them with what was your worst deal? And then they have to share. And Mike Ingle never lost any money on any project. And his talk was probably the best. Developer of the decade. His case studies were unbelievable. It's the guy that rebuilt a large part of Manchester after it was bombed in 1995. Really cool guy, fantastic public speaker. And everybody was just blown away by the presentation he gave. So after I'd run an event in Knightsbridge in London for 3 years, I started an applications-only exclusive network for real estate developers and for investors and for business owners in the real estate space. And the first person who joined is a good friend of mine, Ian Douglas. He was Sol Kerzner's personal representative. He built the Atlantis on the Palm. He built up the one and only hotel chain. They sold that. Kerzner International is now owned by the ruler of Dubai. And Ian was the first person to speak at that event, and he gave a great talk about how they built the world's most glamorous hotel, the Atlantis on the Palm. He talked about how it flooded. I think it was the night before the opening. He's got Oprah Winfrey flying in from America and Kylie Minogue flying in for the opening. And the whole of the lobby is flooded and they had to clean it all up and fix it. And he talked about how the panes of glass for the aquarium are, I can't remember exactly how thick they are, but they're incredibly thick. Something like 50 centimeters, maybe a meter. It's crazy. His talk is actually on YouTube and you can find it. Ian Douglas, Atlantis, the Palm. So it'd be hard for me to estimate how many events I've done, but you're talking hundreds of events. And I know what it takes to make them interesting. The success I've had running events has all been based upon the authenticity. If you stand at the front of the room and you're genuine and authentic, that resonates most powerfully with the people in the room, and they buy into that because they know that what you're saying is true and it's real. If you stand at the front of the room and spin a load of crap and hit them with a load of sales pitches, it doesn't tend to work very well. But if you're really genuine and you're authentic, relatable, your events can be very successful. And I'm talking from experience. I must have done 500 events. I honestly don't know. I should work it out. Hey George, how you feeling? At least they've identified it, right? Are they confident that's right? That doesn't sound good. Is it curable?
All right, good.
Good. Can I talk about work then? We got to make this event happen. So I'm riding around with Thomas today. Got a few meetings. Obviously jumping in the chopper at the end of the day. Make sure we've got a route for the helicopters so that people who come can see as much as possible. Those that go in the helicopter. And then we're going to need a landing page, some ads. Thomas is all over it. He knows what assets we need to promote it. And I think we should all be speaking between us regularly. So if we need something within 48 hours, we've got it. I've got some pretty big inquiries on the go at the moment. Really decent size, £25 million villa, $50 million at a time, investing in offices, hotels, schools, education, healthcare, as well as prime resi. I want you guys to just handle the event as much as possible so that I can put all my energy into closing those deals. Everybody's interested in what I'm doing, I think, and that might be the way to go. Just make it look interesting and that the personal branding works, right? That he's on a bit of an adventure, which is true. Yeah. So let's take them on the journey with us. We'll the helicopters, the event, the deals. Everybody needs to be vetted before they're invited. So the call to action is apply now. Limited spaces available, and the chopper's totally optional because not everybody's going to want to go in a helicopter. Although the cool people will. They definitely should go in a chopper. But if you happen to be like one in 20 people that's got a fear of helicopters, we're not gonna knock you out and throw you on the back seat. Yeah, we should be speaking every day right now. All right, chat later. Bye. Guys are on it, which is important. My priority needs to be on closing deals for my clients, and right now I've got some really interesting stuff that's on the go. We're talking like 20, 30, $50 million at a time. Touch wood, we'll be closing some of those. It doesn't all have to be at that level though. Not all deals need to be 20, 30, 50. It's exciting if they are. Once you get to the 5 million dirham mark, there's some really good stuff available. And once you get to the 10 million dirham mark, there's some great stuff available. And if you really have got deep pockets, the less people there are in the market you're investing in, typically the better the returns. Sometimes the liquidity isn't quite as strong. It might take you longer to sell the asset, but there's some really good opportunities available. A lot of shit as well. Need to avoid that. Someone just told me that the fee was 4%, and I thought the fee was 2%. I just wanted to know what the right fee was. Are the fees negotiable? I know. I know. The guy who's in the market for, actually his budget is up to 9 million, and he's looking at a villa on Jumeirah Golf Estates too. But I also said that because he's investing, he wants appreciation. So I said, well, if you want appreciation, you need to look at DIFC. H&H, they have a better payment plan, and so that's that investor up to 9 million, which I think is 2 or 3 bed, right? No, so I have another investor that wants to buy 2 so that he can potentially sell 1 and keep 1. They might not both be in DIFC, but then the large investor is only going to be interested in the penthouses. And can you remind me are those on the inventory, the penthouses? We haven't launched. Okay, yeah, if you could send the sales offers for those, that'd be great. I'll take a look. Cheers, take care. You too, bye-bye. That is a really good developer with very good land allocation, very good payment plans, very good finish. The group owns one of the best hotel chains in Dubai, and their apartments feel like one of the best hotels in Dubai. And the values, you're not talking 10,000 dirhams a foot, you're talking like 4,000 to 5,000 dirhams a foot in areas that will really appreciate. A sales offer for a penthouse in DIFC, off plan. I think it's 40-60 payment plan, which is great because you only got to put down 40% during construction, including the down payment. And if you're buying at a good price and the market appreciates, or even if it stays flat, you're going to make a very good return on your investment, especially with this location because it's smack bang right outside DIFC and adjacent to DIFC 2. There's going to be a private members club in the building and a lot of nice amenities like a spa, valet parking. This is the real deal. He pays 60% on completion and it's 36.5 million dirhams, 7 million pounds for a 4-bed, 4-bath, 5 parking space penthouse. This is for someone that spends a bit of time in Dubai and wants a nice place for hosting guests with a very convenient location for all their meetings, which have to be in DIFC because that's where their business is. The DIFC, the traffic's a little bit heavy, and they're adding some new roads to help with that, which is much needed because they're tripling the size of the DIFC with DIFC 2. Traffic's always going to be a bit of an issue, and if you need to get DIFC every day or several times a week, you probably want to live in DIFC, especially if you're working really hard in your business and you're back to back in meetings and you just want to cut out that journey. You need to be living locally. It's like, this is Dubai's Wall Street. This is the equivalent of the city of London, all about convenience. And I think traffic is going to be the driver for appreciation in that neighborhood, which will materialize, not least of all, because that's where you got some really high earners. So I had a good meeting at Emirates Hills at the golf club. Really good team of independent brokers involved in a lot of the large deals in Dubai. Good people, good reputation. I have some buyers, they have some sellers, and in these situations you're looking for people that you can trust so you can collaborate, hopefully get some deals done. A lot of the stuff I'm looking for is quite rare for some of my investors. It's not just all off-plan apartments and villas. Some of it's offices or towers, might be education, hotels, and not just any old investment. Deals got to stack up and make a lot of sense. There's a funny story how I met one of these brokers, because I moved to Dubai permanently 3 years ago, and just after I moved, someone was reaching out to investors in Dubai, and they were doing it from the UK. And I looked and saw that this person had a first in their degree, and they were working at a brokerage house in Dubai, but they actually hadn't moved here yet and they hadn't joined it yet. I gave her some advice, I gave her some tips, and 3 years later she's ended up at one of the best brokerages, and we picked up the conversation where it left 3 years ago, and she's going to bring me some great deals. I'm going to bring her some fantastic investors, and hopefully we're going to get some good results. But it goes to show, like, you never know how some of these connections are going to play out over time, but one little connection request on LinkedIn, amongst many that don't go anywhere, is hopefully going to lead to some business getting done. So I just stopped off at Kite Beach to get some fresh air and a cup of coffee. Got 45 minutes to kill before we jump in the helicopter. We want to check the route for the event that we're putting on, same week as the Abu Dhabi F1, and plan out some videos so that we can put the message out there and people know exactly what they're buying into. My vision for the event is that there's between 20 and 40 investors in the room. It's very intimate, it's very candid. There's a lot of value around the table because there's going to be an investor who's also a qualified accountant, or one or two investors that have sold businesses. They're all going to come from all walks of life with all their different stories. Everybody's probably going to bring some value, and between the lot of us, we're going to look at a lot of deals and cover a lot of ground, and everybody's going to leave the event having learned something. And I imagine everybody's going to be bringing something as well.
With nothing to hold on to, racing for the end, praying for the wind to slow down the feeling.
It's a guy I know in London, really good guy. Haven't done any deals with him yet, but he knows I've got some buildings in prime central London, and he knows they're good value. And he has a Swiss investor and a Chinese investor looking for freehold blocks in London, trying to clear 5% net yield, which isn't easy, but they've already done more than 100 million this year, pounds. Let me see if I can get the whole block. Might be a few apartments that we don't control. Yes, I can do that, yeah. Where do you want to meet? Oh, perfect, that's where I live. Yeah, somewhere it's too easy. Yeah, let's do it. Has he got some good kit? All right, 9:30. Thank you. See you then. Bye, mate. That's good. So my hunt for offices, hotels, industrial, commercial real estate, quite large ticket, is going well. Through my network and through my contacts, got all sorts of opportunities being brought to me. This is for a particular group that want to invest $50 million minimum each time. I wish all my deals were $50 million minimum each time. Realistically, they're not. Probably 5 million dirhams plus, which is about £1 million. But if you want to have a good chance of getting a deal done, you've got to find good deals. So I've got a couple of investors at the moment that are in the market for things north of 150 million dirhams, which is about 30 million pounds. And what happens above that threshold is the returns get really interesting. There's a totally different type of market, not just off-plan from developers. I'm talking about some hotels, offices, could be industrial, could be healthcare, education, commercial real estate investments where they're let to a single operator or single tenant. You just have to manage that one contract to pick up your 6% per annum yield, or maybe a higher return than that. To find those deals, you've got to use your network. And I'm lucky because I've been in real estate a long time. There's a lot of people over here that knew me in the UK, or they know me more recently since I moved here. But you just got to be tapping the network and finding people that you can collaborate with to get those deals done. And a lot of it's done on trust and reputation, which is why you need to protect your reputation. So if you want to get involved in some larger deals and you know people that are looking for really good off-market opportunities, kind of north of 150 million dirhams, 30 million pounds, or you have access to deals like that and they're off-market and you want to work with someone that might have the buyers, I'm a good person to ask. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I've just asked for the deal and the money in the same go. But the truth is, not everybody wants to buy everything. And you got to match. Sometimes you can't match. But when you do, good things happen. Past 5, sun is setting, very productive day. Looks like I have new clients who might pick up not just one but 2 investments. Met some really good brokers that I want to do some deals with in Emirates Hills. They've been sending me through off-market opportunities. Highlight was probably the flights in the helicopter. Had a really good look at Palm Jebel Ali for the second time from the sky. And on Palm Jumeirah, at the beginning of the fronts, the villas with the low numbers, the gap between the fronts is small. And the higher up the front you go and the higher the number, the bigger the gap between the fronts and the more people are willing to pay for those villas. But on Palm Jebel Ali, you can clearly see that the fronts start with a pretty substantial gap and the gap gets bigger. Not only that, we could also see that, because we were lucky with the light, when the tide is moving, there's a huge amount of water flowing into the palm itself. But water looks clear. You can see it from the coast of each frond, and it's very obvious that they fixed a lot of the design or improved the design, made a lot of enhancements. Just the size of it as well. I have to tell you, I'm really taken by Palm Jebel Ali. The real purpose of getting back up in the bird today was to check the route, make sure we got a really good route for the people coming to our event happening around Abu Dhabi F1. We got some great sights in, had a great sight of the frame, which is interesting, but a lot of those other developments up the coast. And honestly, helicopter is the best way to see Dubai. It's one thing to look at a map on your computer. It's another thing to look at some renders. But it's another thing entirely to see it in the flesh, to see Palm Jebel Ali, the fronds being finished, the villas being built, the work that's going on there. Honestly, just in the last 10 days since I was previously in the helicopter, it looks like they've made progress. I think that thing's going to be rapidly evolving, and I'm hoping I'm going to be a bigger and bigger part of it. So if you're interested in the event, with or without the helicopter tour at the start of the day, apply now, and let's pick up the phone, let's have a conversation, and hopefully see you there.